gotta break into a topic that I skipped over on accident, and because I really meant to bring this up. There was a logo once.
What?
It's not an existing one, and I know it's not a current one. We I don't know, in your hat looks great. I always like that logo. Um, we did some color variations and stuff. That's nice. Um,
You like the logo too.
and that's
You were very much against changing it for quite
yeah, and we'll talk about that.
I kept trying to change
We
it.
have problems. But this is where you get into the kind of catch-22 of like you can jack of all trades, master of none, whatever. It comes into play when you design a logo in your programmers, right? But we did that. We went back and forth on it. And we're like,
We were just looking at some emissions on.
we were playing on WellDB, WDB. So what you the well, it's big, so you big W. And then database. I mean, you're gonna put a big D and a big B, it's gonna overwhelm the W.
Absolutely.
And so you made the lowercase
Yeah.
D and D. I was like, okay, cool. But you if you put them alongside each other, it looks off weighted because you have lowercase d and b, and this W is so wide. And so we're like, let's put the D and V underneath it.
No, I'm like, I mean, naturally, we can make that as the drill pipe.
Well, and that was it. Like you have this W, the natural rig there, and we draw down in the DB. We've got our casing there, and we've got I don't know, D and B. Who cares? It was the res,
That's what the original idea was.
right? And so it works
It was like it's kind of like
until you step back, you look at it from a whole, and maybe you get a little immature. But I mean, come on.
I mean, come on, it's a company. It's all good.
Yeah. It was very phallic. We'll just say that. It
Yeah.
The irony of the whole thing though is that it was phallic. But so many of the old men in the industry talk about how great it looked.
Maybe they were just laughing at her.
That's such a pessimistic view of things. See, you say that like because you're like, we did that. Something was wrong with us, and they were mine. Like I'm like, no, something's wrong with them, and they liked it, and we just went with it. And I was resistant because I did get I mean, an inordinate amount of people are like, I really like that logo.
Yeah.
Even after you pointed it out, I was like, I know, but people like it, so let's just roll with it. And then eventually it wore on me too. So
Thankfully, we're past that.
no, we will find that though. We will resurface that just for like a throwback. It'll be
Oh, thanks, shirts. I
yeah.
like it.
Anyway, all right, back to reality.
Merch drop.
We've restarted. We've gotten some gusto. We've gotten data. We got a product. Now, we implemented Braintree
Yeah.
as our payment platform, right? Braintree would then be acquired by PayPal
Yeah.
at some point in
I
time.
did this whole like half day comparison on the breakover point between Braintree and Stripe,
Right.
and how Stripe was actually cheaper to get started, and Braintree would be cheaper when we were just blowing it down because we were going to just explode within the next
Right.
6 months, right?
And we did.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know which 6 months we're talking about, but
So we went Braintree. Yeah, and then they got bought by
yeah, PayPal.
PayPal.
So, but we implemented a full payment system and everything, and people could put credit cards in, which was actually a first for our industry at all. For
They're doing that.
Yeah.
Software as a service. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I like to think that we had a hand in modernizing the industry because I mean, I'm being literal. I cannot name a single other company that was doing it.
Yeah, man.
And so, but I say that because we implemented that. You obviously, it's a chicken and egg. You got to be able to accept payments before you can get paid.
Yeah.
So we did that. And then we got a first paying customer.
Yeah.
And you remember this, I'm sure. I remember. Like, that was the most exciting thing.
Super sad. Do you remember where you were?
No.
No. You don't remember? Do you remember like the moment?
No, I don't remember the exact moment. What about you?
I was at Bex Prime in the Women's.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sitting there. I sat down with my wife and family, and we sat down for hamburger. I got an email.
This has got to be a mistake.
We got to pay. I texted y'all.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe I was the name on that I'd set up the merchant account on it. So I think I texted y'all.
Woohoo! Yeah, it's like, no way. And this is to juxtapose our actual first release date. That was so depressing that when we first released our product, which was probably in 2012 as well.
He's made for that.
Okay, so we're talking the difference between like February and maybe June.
No, no, with summer name, which doesn't exist.
Oh my god.
Yeah, summer name, so it was August.
So was it August? When did we get the first payer then? We
October.
okay, August, October. Okay, cool. Uh, uh, so when we went to roll out, you and I were getting it all set up to, and we were chatting. It was late at night, I
Yeah.
think it was, and we were pushing it out. And yeah, you were talking about how exciting it was, and I was like, "Yeah, this is all awesome." And then it was just like crickets,
Yeah,
and
crickets was crushing.
beat a little bit. This goes back to prioritizing the business side of commercialization, drumming up the revenue, the marketing side of things to try to add me.
We bought an ad space in that summer name.
Wow, I did. Yeah, that was like 2 grand.
Yeah,
That wasn't cheap.
it wasn't.
Um, but no,
But
it's just summer name. I forgot about that. That was crazy. But no, I don't want to harp on that feeling when we rolled out and no one cared. That was frustrating. But we got our first payer.
yeah,
And I remember when I was at something, like when Ion Houston kind of startup thing was going on, someone was like, when someone pays you a penny for your product, then you know that at least there's something there. And so I remember thinking that, and I was like, okay, I mean, we've been working on this for years now. Yeah, someone actually finally handed us money for it because it was awesome.
yeah,
He would stay around for years too, years and years and years, to the point where we worried that perhaps he had passed away. And
yeah. We checked in.
yeah, we tried, dude. We tried. I mean, I could. But regardless, that was really exciting, wasn't
It was super exciting. It was like that was like a catalyst for the rest. Like that was like you got the first payment. I just remember being excited and telling them we're all out. They were like the reason disbelief that just happened. Really?
it? Okay.
You've been working on this thing like nights and weekends, and now you're paying it. Like holy cow, this is like possibly a real thing.
Yeah. Do you remember? Was he $100 or $250? I think it was 250, wasn't it? Our first packages were 100, 250, and 500.
Yeah,
And
I think he was just not. No, maybe he was too.
I think he was 250.
I think you're right. Cause I'm like, not only, I think you're right. Cause it's like, not only is it not, it's a new customer, but he's right there in the oil are.
Right. Right. And that was the pricing was interesting. That was a challenging thing to do. I remember being really like torn on pricing, making it very hard to try to find that sweet spot. Um, Oddly enough, though, the spot we landed on is a spot we still live in today.
It is because that $99 package was actually doesn't exist.
Right. And so, but we didn't, again, when we changed our pricing, we went instead of 99, 250, 500, we made 99 free.
Yeah.
And then went 250, 500 and added new features for
Right.
$1,000.
Right.
So,
We toyed with that starter plan sometime later.
yeah, we did do that. That was an interesting experiment. It was a couple years later. We tried that out. That was a $15 a month plan called a starter. Uh, that was I don't know. I wouldn't call it a bust, but it just didn't. It either if you don't scale at that level, then it can't work. It's got to take off or not.
Yeah, it required a lot of support for a small team.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we do that. We roll that out in 2012, but then you also quit your job in 2012.
I did. Yeah, right before that actually, because I quit my job in June, and I think my last day was the end of June.
Okay.
We were working on I stuck around just to help them. They had a big thing. They were rolling out a new product in July at a conference, so they asked me to stick around to that. And then on, I was like half time on WellDatabase and half time consulting stuff.
Right.
And so,
Well, that was a benefit of Dwayne, a big benefit Dwayne had because he
right,
had these consulting projects, and when he needed extra help, we kind of set that up like, well, Josh can come do that halftime, and consulting pays pretty well. So for halftime gives you kind of offset that pay and then allow you to work on Well Database more. Which is another one of those weird steps that without that happening, like nothing else could have happened. Like we would have sat there in that kind of
yes, development.
it's just got right. Yeah, finish the bit. And I don't want to call it purgatory, but still it's like everything is a little more sluggish, slow going, just trying to get going the minute that so I consider that one of the most I mean, the roll out in 2012 and then you quitting all right in that right same time. I mean, that's like top 5 significant moments in the company and our ability to move it. But, um, the first customer, we didn't follow up with a whole lot of
We were
customers.
still developers and hearts in it, though. We don't talk
Yeah, yeah,
one of those.
that's true.
We were not good with communication in the beginning.
Well, but then let's talk about that because you were the first one to leave your job, which meant that I was still working full time. Dwayne was working full time. You were the only one that had any daytime hours that you could allocate to it because we still were being very strict. We did not do well database stuff during working hours,
Right.
normal hours for us. 'Cause we worried about any kind of potential optics or really, anything else. So we just were very strict about it. So
That's true.
you got to do everything
No.
customer facing for a little while
A
though.
little while, yeah. I was doing the customer support
Mhm.
and then, well, the people kicking the tires. So we always had free plan too, right?
Yes, we've always had
The free plan.
free
So
play.
they had people coming in, but that's the important thing to know. We had some people sign up. That was the first person to pay us.
Right. And then the free plan at the time though is very, very different than our light plan today. The free plan at the time just allowed some mapping and like your well name, and that was about it.
But we did provide support and all that. So we're asking questions. And so, yeah, I was doing that. And then I was surprisingly for everybody, probably as the first salesperson team. Because,
Pricing, come on.
well, coming off of where I was in a much more customer, right? I guess, I was doing demos and presentations, that kind of stuff more there and webinars and all that.
Yeah, no, that is true. It's still though, we didn't necessarily spend money on marketing. We didn't actually do much in the way of outreach. It was all inbound.
It was.
And
I mean, our main marketing at the time was that little Nape ad we bought, which wasn't even, it was in their book, right?
right. Yeah. No, it wasn't particularly interesting.
And then we relied on Twitter at the time.
Right.
And I guess Facebook, have we tried Facebook then? I don't know if we really did much on LinkedIn.
I don't. Well, and it was always that challenging thing. When you quit, we did start to do some things, but prior to that, we felt like we couldn't be associated to it
That's true.
and work at our companies without raising red flag. And so we were like, let's just kind of keep things siloed. It's not for any great reason, but to try to keep everything straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a weird time because I felt like there was a little bit of excitement for getting customers, but also a little bit like,
Oh, there's a business here. We got to.
how are we going to, now that we have people, like we have to do all these things that we were not doing before. I'll
Start coming. Work at all of these things. You got to start managing and
right.
and figuring out what's most important and roadmaps. People asking for more feature states. Because we didn't have all the states yet.
Right.
Taking that, like
Designing logos.
designing logos,
I didn't mean to bring that back up.
redesigning logos. Awful.
No, and we did we were looking at some screenshots that we had done earlier, and on one hand we kind of chuckle at some of the design ideas and stuff like that, but on the other hand, we had heat mapping, we had multiple map layers and things. The well details consisted of like 3 things. But if you recall though, that was on that one screenshot. Our well detail used to be dynamic based upon what the state provided.
It was. You're right.
And so there were some states that were very skim and we would only have 1 or 2 tabs. Other states where we had multiple tabs. We got away from that because users felt like it left a big question. Like,
Right. Is somebody broken or
yes.
what's going on?
So we found it better to be consistent in showing the data types than just saying there's no data available for this particular data in this region.
Yeah.
But so demos, like, how did we even do demos back then?
Skype.
Skype, and we did screen shares.
Skype and shares. Yeah.
We definitely weren't in customers off.
No,
Like
we
that.
did not.
We
I
said,
think it was just all Skype. So the Skype call.
yeah, that sound had to be it. And so it was all inbound too. So
Go to webinar. Maybe or go to meeting.
go to meeting. Yeah,
Or
that was
that
one
one?
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I knew Mountain go to me. I knew we had it for a while. Maybe it did start around then.
Right. Uh,
Didn't have the million options you have now. That's for sure.
yeah. I said that was an oranges, and then we worked remote, and that wasn't normal back then. Did you go to Nate?
Yeah, when we did that ad, I just went and walked the floor.
Right.
Right. And so talked to a few people, but a lot of people didn't want to talk.
The most awkward thing ever, right?
Yeah. Like trying to walk up and I'm a new company
Yeah.
and I want to show you my stuff. And I do remember distinctly going to the RRC and showing them stuff. Thought it was cool.
That's nice.
And, I met, Ernest there.
Ernest, yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's gone there. He might still be there. I'm not sure.
Not sure. I don't know. Yeah.
Since the RRC put everything out, like, you used to have to contact Ernest to get things, and since they put it all out there, and I'm so sad now. I'm gonna call Ernest. So what he's up to.
Um, but yeah, no, I tried the county scans and some of them, I remember trying to approach some and, like, talk to them.
So, but and I would do the same thing down the road, because I would quit my job later on. We'll talk about that later. I found doing that at Nape being one of the most difficult things that I've ever really, I mean, from a business standpoint,
Yeah.
it seemed impossible.
Yeah, I mean, especially, like, just going back to our prior talks, not like we had these relationships, right? So, like, you walking up to chat with people we had just the booth that maybe the booth people we had worked with, but that they were focused on their sales stuff, right? And so, trying to just ease your way into these booths that are already trying to sell their own beers.
Well, that's what it is. Like at Nape, and especially at that time, you had the vendor section. I mean, you had the deal section. My deal section was everybody trying to sell their deals that they did not
Mhm.
want to hear what you were trying to sell. That's
Right.
ridiculous. Right. And then the vendors were trying to sell their software. They didn't want to hear what you trying to sell. So like you were
It's not even the right person typically in the booth that you were.
right, but you were just barking up the wrong tree left and right. But we had to do something.
Yeah. But we had some great ideas. We just didn't have the money for it, right? We wanted to do like skywriting. We wanted to do some like guerrilla, like, I don't drive a car through you with the banner on.
That was fun. No, I actually thought we could pay somebody to like climb the George R. ground and drop a well database band.
That's right. So I'm like, who are we gonna? But who's doing?
I had a friend of the family who was a pretty girl and was involved with other models and stuff. And I was like, let's get her over here, just like walk out in front of the George R. Brown. And anyway, that's my better adjustment. But anyway, we did not do any of those.
So why? I don't know that. I think it would have flown better now, but then, I don't know. The time feels more that.
That's probably you go back to 2012. Think about the industry at that time. Scale business had just started really coming on.
Yeah.
The Eagle Ford and the Bakken were the two kind of big time plays at the time. I can't say for certain. I'd have to go look back at the data. The Delaware Basin at that time, if not at that time, right before then, was just a place you avoided like the plague. It was the heavy water producer for your conventional wells, and so like Sand Ridge and some others were involved there. But um, the whole feel of the industry was this kind of new era that it was starting to kick into, which felt like we had a good place to go. But at the same time, there was this very old feeling that guerrilla marketing was not going to
Yeah.
fly here, that people were going to feel disrespected by those types of things. So we didn't do it.
A bit of a gap, or like, I guess age younger people came in a little bit later.
Well, and that's the thing in our industry in general, because I think it mixes in with the crashes of the industry that I am one of the oldest of the younger gap. So from me to the next is, there's 20-year difference where no one right now is in the 40s and 50s in the industry. You've got people in the 60s who are still hanging around and people under 40, but in their 50s, it's few and far between right now. And so you rewind this 15 years and anyway.
That's where you are, yeah.
Right. And so but then like how did this is the thing about sales that people don't talk about. Like you have to actually sell people. Like and people like us and a lot of technical people, like we love to ingest all the information about it and make our own decision. But in the sales world, you have to present all of the benefits and then ask for the money.
Yeah, and yet I'm not good at asking for the money. I was more of just showing what we had and, "All right, thank you," right? And so that doesn't work to close sales. So
It doesn't work.
I was doing it more I was doing a technical demo, and, like, that was the sales guys should come close. Oh, but that's just me because it's one of the halves, right? So even to the point of, poor decisions on follow-up and stuff, it'd be like, "Thanks for your time," and, like, get them that thing in the email, but then 0 after, right? I didn't hear back from 'em, that was it.
Well, and that's where, we said in the very beginning by not kind of giving credit or hiring a partner for the business side of thing, the sales side of thing, commercialization side. That was a mistake, but that mistake kind of kept biting us because of this, it's like even, and later on I would do more sales and I had the exact same problem. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm a kind of person who feels like, tell me all my information, and then I'll go make my decision and let you know.
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's like great. That's what we do to our customers. But at the end of the day, if you do that to customers, then many times they're just trying to move on to something, you get distracted,
Yeah.
and
Everybody's got busy lives going on, right? So
you got to sell.
you gotta
So,
sell. Yeah.
um, so, but in talking to all these customers, you also would get some feedback, and we are starting to make more rapid changes to
Oh,
it.
that is where we really started to get our customer centric kind of focus on building what, we have this base thing that you get them in the door, but then they're like, oh, I need this, that, the other thing. And that's where we would really start making a list and building out features based on it. And
Right.
it's kind of been that way ever since, right?
We have.
And
Yeah.
listen to places.
Well, and it's a double-edged sword though, too, because we chased a lot of features too.
We did. I mean, we were obviously trying to catch up a little bit, like you said earlier. There was a feeling of, we're not a complete solution yet.
Right.
So we were trying to chase some of those, and then yeah, we would chase customer features that their one person requested, and then they would walk away.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, and people need to understand that you're starting up a company. You are gonna have a people who be like, "Oh, your program's great, but it doesn't do X," and you're like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna make it do X," and then you come back and you're talking to them, you're like, I made it do it. Is that cool?" They're like, "Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'm busy. I'm good." And you're like, "But you said." Anyway, it's just one of those things. It's a you have to be a little more discerning, and when you're, at the end of the day, I think it's just desperation.
Yeah, no, it
Hard.
really is. No, absolutely is. Especially when you go chasing those features for a specific customer, not like broad things that you kind of already planned. You start chasing almost kind of like fires, but it feels that way because you're trying to make a sale.
Yeah, no doubt. But again, this just really, to me at least, circles back around to respecting the commercial side of things and giving product and commercial the equal merit.
Which is just not stuff we had really thought through.
Right. And so when I think about back at this time, it is kind of a mixed bag because we did have that ramp up and excitement and doing all these things, and then we go commercial, and then we get a payment or not like really getting traction. And of course, if you go,
And yeah, we finished that year with what, like maybe 5 or 6
yeah,
games.
that was it.
Did that?
Yeah. And so that's funny. We would get like one maybe a month. And I remember how excited it was when we got one.
It'd be like, oh,
And even those free users that would sign up, we'd have a couple a week. And we uh we talk about that now. It's so funny because I think we have an average of 7 people, 8 people a day sign up.
yeah,
Um, and we add, the paying users, we add, I don't know, I got to look at the numbers, but it's every day we're adding paying users as well. And so it's easy to get kind of acclimated to that. But when you think back on that
yeah,
one paying user a month,
yeah.
and now we get, you know,
Yeah, it was wild back then. I mean, we used to have like a little, it's kind of celebration each time I had one. Now it's like, okay, you don't even look at
I know, and you really
I don't mean
feel it.
yeah, I don't mean to let this down. I don't really know.
No, but at the end of the day, and when you're at that point, you know that people, companies make millions a year, and we're at the kind of point now, and which means that if you make millions a year, you get money every day. And so like that was the other part of it. Like Braintree would process the payment, and then it would hit our bank account in a day later or whatever. And so we would get a payment once a month.
Yeah,
Or something like that. And now it's like every single day, it's like, how much did you get today? And
right. You
that
know, it's like, yeah,
it's just a weird, and I know it's normal, but still,
the weird transition from here, this 2 month gap before we had one even, and then the straggling around a month or even whatever it was,
but
to this snowball situation.
all right. So to circle back around, what would you change in this point in time and what about this strategy, this time period?
I definitely would have focused more on the marketing, I think, and tried to sell better for myself because I know that I didn't do a great job at it.
But I go back to even after this point in time, it would have behooved us to recognize that, okay, like, let's just put feelers out for someone who's willing to sell either
Yeah,
fairly on commission or as a partnership or whatever it might be.
that's fair.
But we needed because the network was the other thing. We had no network. We knew nobody.
Yeah, nobody doing these kinds of things, right? So,
Oh, yeah, yeah, sorry. On the technical side, there's plenty of people we knew, but
yeah,
they're not our customers.
right.
Um, so
So yeah, get in front of more people, or find somebody to handle it, right?
right.
Then do what we're not good at.
Well, and marketing in that time frame was a little bit different. I mean, LinkedIn did exist, but, it wasn't the type of place that it would become, and it
Yeah,
obviously kind of
and ads on Facebook, on X, was like Twitter then, and LinkedIn, and really, later on taken off more than they were then.
well, and in this industry particularly, though, at that time, you would walk into people's offices and there'd be a stack of magazines, oil and gas magazines, Nate magazine, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, those those were everything back then. That's and then a little bit of an older
Speaking
generation.
of some of this, with this launch, we did our first press release at Penwell.
We did a press release. That's
Oh
right.
yeah. They took a shot on us and I forgot about that. That was
Yeah,
exciting too, and they were like, "Okay, we'll run that."
yeah. No, that was fun. That was interesting. Another kind of thing that honestly, the ad in the Nate magazine and the press release, like those were good for us back then.
Yeah.
Today, it would be today it would be challenging for us to justify much of that. Just in print media is not really consumed very much.
Right.
And we've done some press releases even in the past couple of years. Those really don't carry much weight anymore.
They don't. It's still like an old. It's a post on a news feed, and like somebody read it. No,
And you get a little bit of artificial, I think it's mostly bot traffic at the end of the day. That
yeah,
you get it. And
it's a
so,
bot traffic.
um,
What would you have done differently? I mean,
what I said, yeah, I mean, we had no money to hire people.
yeah,
There was no one who might be interested in investing. And so we would have had to kind of find the right person who'd be willing to, eh, those people exist. The people who don't need a bunch of cash from a salary
yeah,
and can be willing to take a bet, a gamble on you to get some return, some equity,
yeah, yeah,
commission,
yeah,
whatever it might be. So, yeah, that's what I would have done. I would have just said, I mean, that's a little bit of a recognition of where we were falling short
yeah,
and really trying to address it directly rather than trying to say, how can we get better at something we're not good at?
yeah. That's true.
So, but at the same time, though, it was great learning experience, and um, I like talking to customers now.
Yeah,
I like getting in front of customers and doing demos and stuff. I find it enjoyable now. I don't do it all the time, obviously, but still, it's something that I grew to really enjoy doing. So, but it was fun, and it can feel like a slog, especially because the other startups are out there, and some of them are, heavily involved in, like, SPE or APG, whatever it may
yeah,
be. They're talking at conventions, or they're putting out papers and those kind of things, and that's a fair, strategy. I will say a lot of those people I knew at that time, those companies are long gone, defunct kind of thing. So, and I posted about this one day. You have to be careful when you're in those areas because you might look at yourself and how many dollars you bring in, and that you're only signing up one customer a month, and you may look at some of the other people in the space and you don't know what they're bringing in, what their actual dollars are, but they're talking and all out there, which is a good thing. But when you look under the covers, they're making less money than you are. And so that
the public image, right?
right, which is trash. What you want to put out, and we're all like to think that we're above getting wrapped up in that fray, but especially when it's a business, it's not you personally, it's a business that you want to grow. You want people to recognize. It's easy to be like, well, why is that business doing so much better than that?
You don't realize that.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone's struggling for a piece.
that's exactly right. You would find that out later. But I'll tell you now, it's still the same way. I mean, these companies are struggling to make inroads in markets for multiple reasons, but you got to keep your head up and just keep plugging along, put blinders on to some of that stuff, trying to make sure that you keep focused on what's important to you.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Distracted by trying to match what they're doing because they're probably just trying to make it up as well.
that's it. That's exactly right. So, so no, that was an interesting time in our company to get money, our first customers, to actually validate our ideas, for you to be able to quit. And I know it sounds so great to be able to quit, but it comes with like a new level of stress. Oh,
Yeah, I did absolutely, and not sure that I knew I was getting into, right? Because the same thing, just like studying, so you don't know what you get.
No, absolutely. And at the end of the day, I remember when you quit and we're doing it, and I was trying to, talk to you as much as possible as I could while I still had my job.
Right.
And the whole time being like, God, can I just quit so we can both do this? Like, we could do so much better if we could just both work at it.
Yeah,
So, but that wouldn't come for a little bit longer. But
it's true.
hey, I appreciate you taking the first one to jump ship like that, because it's a risk that you took that I didn't have to right then, and
Somebody had to do it, right?
we did, and I do believe we tried to logic it out that it made most sense to try to even it out, but at the end of the day, we both know this now, like, it's a risk no matter which way you slice it, so you took balance
The
of it.
risk, yeah.
I think you deserve some, appreciation for that, so. Alright, well, keep tuned, you'll see, we're only halfway there. Not even halfway.
Not even halfway.
Yeah, we're butting up to about 2013 into 2014 now.
Yeah.
So we still got some, yeah,
So we got the good stuff.
yeah, the meat. Anyway,
Running a business.
stay tuned.